For decades, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries functioned as an institutional fiction of collective Arab sovereignty. It allowed Gulf producers to speak with a coordinated voice, leveraging their primary resource to weigh on the global economy and defend a shared rent. On May 1, 2026, that fiction collapsed when the United Arab Emirates officially withdrew from OPEC and the expanded OPEC Plus coalition. Energy Minister Suhail al-Mazroui carefully dressed the decision in the language of energy policy, citing flexibility and long-term national interest. Abu Dhabi long faced friction with production quotas imposed on its national oil company, ADNOC, despite investing heavily to reach 5 million barrels daily. While these technical tensions over oil quotas are real, they are the visible signs of a much deeper regional rupture. Riyadh and Abu Dhabi are now operating under two incompatible visions of what the Gulf order should look like. Saudi Arabia views itself as a regional stabilizer, focused on preserving the territorial integrity of Arab states. Since 2015, however, the UAE has built a doctrine founded on force projection, arming and funding non-state actors in Libya, Sudan, and Yemen. This strategic contradiction crossed a qualitative threshold in late 2025, turning a discrete rivalry into open military confrontation between nominal allies. On December 29th, Saudi Arabian airstrikes targeted an Emirati weapons convoy at the port of Mukalla in Yemen. Riyadh followed the strike by publicly demanding the total withdrawal of all UAE forces from Yemeni territory. Abu Dhabi answered that call in early 2026 with the dissolution of the Southern Transitional Council, their principal proxy force in the country. For the UAE, remaining within an economic architecture effectively controlled by Riyadh would have meant accepting institutional subordination, while their bilateral relationship hardened into rivalry. Exiting OPEC is an act of sovereign disengagement, a formal break from Saudi tutelage at the precise moment the two nations have shifted into open confrontation. Abu Dhabi is facing a rapidly changing security environment. Iran has conducted direct attacks on Emirati territory and shipping, leaving the UAE's maritime interests exposed. With the dissolution of their proxy forces in Yemen and their relationship with Saudi Arabia collapsing, the UAE's strategic calculus has shifted. Washington is no longer just a preferred partner, it has become a necessity. But the relationship with Washington is strained by oil. The U.S. perceives OPEC's current price discipline as a mechanism that converges with Russian interests, providing the oil revenues necessary to finance the war in Ukraine. The Trump administration said so explicitly, creating a link between American military support in the Gulf and global oil prices. By choosing production freedom, Abu Dhabi sends a signal of distancing from an OPEC architecture that Washington views as hostile. The UAE is using its departure to purchase American strategic goodwill, seeking a substitute security guarantee as their regional alliances fall apart. While some compare this departure to Qatar's exit in 2019, the two events are distinct in scale and intent. Qatar was a marginal oil producer, whose departure was a sectoral reorientation toward liquefied natural gas. The UAE, however, was the organization's third largest producer. Abu Dhabi accounted for roughly 12% of OPEC's total output. Losing that much production capacity is an amputation. It signals that even the most central members now calculate that their interests are better served outside the organization. Each departure reduces OPEC to an increasingly unrepresentative instrument, one that is becoming synonymous with Saudi interests alone. The real loss isn't just the barrels. It is the idea that Arab fuel-producing states have a collective capacity to shape the global energy order. Stripped of its third-largest producer in the middle of a regional war, OPEC can no longer credibly fulfill its historical function,